We are live.
Espérate, déjame ajustarme.
Well, that was a very loud adjustment.
Well, you know, I do like me some loud adjustments. That's why I watch chiropractic adjustments on YouTube.
That's true.
That's how I relax, getting people having
You relax watching other people relax.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't you
very
like
giving of you.
Don't you like to see chiropractic adjustments?
Not really.
No?
No.
I mean, look, I can't be the only weird one because these
not.
videos have millions of views.
No. It's not
just
you.
like when I used to watch pimple popping and like blackhead removal.
Okay, that I
I
watch
thought
on
it was like
TikTok.
really weird, but then that has like, you know, Dr. Pimple Popper has like
That's how she
millions
started.
upon millions of views. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm not the only weirdo.
It's not you.
Watching this. So that's a great way to start today's
It
episode.
really is.
So
Episode
welcome everybody to episode
332.
32. 332.
Oh, look at him all like, I'm midway through 32, and he's like, 32, I know
can't
it.
wait till we get to episode 440
Oh, you know, we should really try to get Juan Luis Guerra.
for episode
or
440.
one of the members of 440.
I mean, or as we used to call it, cinco menos 20.
Yes, así como lo ves.
We should just play their greatest hits.
That's the entire
la
episode.
bilirubina. Let's do their greatest hits.
You know what? That should be the
Cuando me
episode.
mira y no me mira. What?
Episode 440, we're just going to play Bachata Rosa.
Y no
That's
lo
it.
quita. Oh yeah, that you want to talk about an album that had hits? Mira, it was Ojalá que llueva café en el campo, en el que oigan este canto. And then, of course, there was Quisiera ser un pez
Yes.
para tocar mi nariz en tu pecera y hacer burbujas de amor por donde quiera. I remember when that song came out. You know, we were little kids.
Yeah.
And I remember my parents and everybody would be like, esa canción es de doble sentido. And I'm like, I don't know what that means.
It's not about fish.
I
it's
just
about
get
mammals.
un sentido.
You just get one entendre.
And then, of course, that bilirubin. And then, you know, when we go into the 2000s, there's
Bueno, there's
Niagara en
Bicicleta.
bicicleta. Y what's the other one?
God, he has so many hits that I can't remember them.
Como sol en la tarde se dispara mi cuerpo.
Oh, yeah.
Y no un momento para decirte que sin ti muero.
Yes.
Estrellitas y Duende. That's the name of that song.
Yes.
Oye, Juan Luis Guerra has the
actually,
hits.
you know what? That would be also a great name for a daycare.
Estrellitas y Duende. Juan Luis Guerra had the hits.
He did have the hits. He did. I saw him perform.
All
at,
6'9" of him.
Yeah, seriously. I mean, these lights are shorter than Juan Luis Guerra.
Yeah, he's like a
He's
gentle
tall.
giant.
Like, if we had him in here, like, do we have space?
I don't know, do we?
I mean, he would be seated, but the camera angles alone, you would look like a short person.
Yes, and I'm 6'1". He's like 6'7".
And then on top of that, flaco. So
Yeah.
he looks even taller.
Yeah. So Juan Luis Guerra
Juan Luis
440.
Guerra.
So damn, that was a big. Kids will never know how hard La Bilirubina hit.
No. You listen. The bilirubin is no joke.
I just thought that was some made up stuff. I didn't know that was a real thing.
No, it's real. It's bile.
Does bilirubin?
It's actually how you say it in English.
Bilirubin?
The bilirubin.
Now I'm
bilirubin.
thinking of Rick Rubin.
Like if Billy Corbin and Rick Rubin had a kid, it would be bilirubin. Bilirubin.
La Bilirubina. Okay. Let's move on from Juan Luis Guerra y 440.
Yes.
So before we start today's regularly programmed episode, we just want to say that we are happy that we're here. We made it through SoBe, the South Beach Food and Wine Festival with Ping Pam Pollo. And we are very happy to tell you guys, to our Pero Primos, if you didn't see it on our Instagram, we won the... Thank you.
Also, welcome back, Junior.
Yes.
Yes, thank you, Mark, for
to
last
be
week.
back.
But thank you, welcome back.
Thank you, Mark, for everything.
We won Yelp's Best Bite on the Beach. At the
Grand tasting.
the Grand Tasting, which is one of the biggest events at the South Beach Food and Wine Festival.
I think there's people still there
yeah.
trying to get food.
So it was just very humbling to win. because, I suffer from a really, really bad case of imposter syndrome.
I was going to say, how's that going for you
No,
today?
that's always going to be there.
But
I could win a James Beard Award, which I never will. And I will still think that I'm,
You know what, sir? Challenge accepted. Because remember that after we won Heritage Fire, I was like, I want to win this year at the South Beach. And we did. So you know what? You want a James Beard? I'll figure it out.
a James Beard.
I'll figure out how to make it
All
happen.
these chefs that, have 30 years of experience, trained at Le Cordon Bleu and the best restaurants in the country,
Okay, but
don't get nominated for that.
But you've already got 3
Okay,
years
but
of
moving
experience.
right along with that, it's just very humbling because, a lot of these events, you have, people that you look up to, like in the culinary world, you have you have amazing restaurants that show in these events. So for our little chicken wing and our little pop-up in Pampollo to win is quite remarkable. It's quite the feat. I believe there could have been an error in
Why?
Because it's always
Why
one
can't
of these
you just enjoy the damn
because
moment?
you know how my brain works.
Enjoy the moment. It's already been announced. They're not going back.
And even though, people were constantly coming up to us like, oh my God, this is the best thing I had here. The best thing. I'm always like, well, you probably have only had 3 things. My brain works that way. So
Listen.
But yes, I got to take the win and enjoy it.
Listen, our wing was enjoyed by Real Housewife of Miami.
Michelle Bernstein, which is one of my
Bernstein,
favorite chefs.
The son of one of our favorite, Latina icons, Sofia Vergara.
Yes.
So, there was a lot of celebrity adjacent
Manolo
things
had our
happening.
wing.
Manolo had our wings.
But thank you to everybody who showed up, everybody who voted for us, everybody who supported us. Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I will say, I know I did the whole I wanted it and we manifested it, but I think there's truth to that. Okay. I think that if you manifest something and you put something out into the world, there's a greater possibility of it happening. You
can manifest things while I go and worry about things like why isn't the mayonnaise, emulsifying like I wanted to emulsify. And I'll deal with that.
Listen, we just need to understand that we can't control the mayonnaise.
We can't control the mayo.
No.
Especially in that large quantities. There was a lot of sauce made.
Hydrogenated oils are beyond our capacity.
There was a lot of sauce made.
There was a lot of sauce made.
A lot of sauce made. It was a definition of saucy.
It was a very saucy weekend.
Saucy. You just can't say saucy.
No, that's stupid.
I remember one time I was at a deposition years ago and the word saucy came up. And I remember that the attorney...
Were you deposing Fergie?
No. Because this was somebody who had been hospitalized. It was a personal injury lawsuit. They had been hospitalized for some type of... some GI issue that they were blaming on something they had at a restaurant. And I remember the attorney kept calling, I forgot the name of it, but the name of one of the ingredients or one of the things that was part of the item or dish that this person was saying made them sick had a saucy something in it. And I remember there was this older man. He's like, well, because, the saucy element and the saucy, every time I'd be there because I was one of the attorneys. I was there, but I really didn't have to be there because I represented the insurance carrier of the restaurant, but we weren't the liability carrier, whatever. I was just there as a formality. And I remember it was this older guy. Anytime he would say, because the saucy element in Exhibit A, I'd be like, oh, you want to say saucy.
Saucy. Yeah, why wouldn't you? That would have been great in the middle of the court. Just been like, my client had a saucy dish.
Okay, moving right along from that. So
yes. But again, thank you to South Beach Wine and Food Festival for inviting us, for allowing us to be part of 2 events. We look forward to being there next year for the 25th anniversary of the South Beach Wine and Food Festival.
It's been 25 years.
I was having this conversation with Jose earlier. The thing que me pasa a mí with the South Beach Wine and Food Festival is I always think it's been around longer than it has, but at the same time, I know it hasn't been around as long as I think it is.
That's some mind cluster F right there.
Yeah. I feel like it's been around forever, but I'm like, well, no, because it wasn't around when we were kids.
Right.
So it's that
it wasn't around in the 90s.
Right. But I feel like it might have been. Maybe I just didn't know. Mm-hmm. That's what I mean by it just feels...
what's incredible? There are kids out there right now who are full-blown ass adults who have not lived in a world without Ultra. And to me, when I think Ultra starting, I think of high school.
That's true. Well, because Ultra started off as like the winter music conference, and it evolved,
and it was one stage in right next in the small park next to the arena. Well, now Museum Park.
Yeah. It was only one day.
That used to be Bicentennial Park, right? It was one stage, one day. You know, with like
couple
Paul
DJs.
Oakenfold.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
And
is Paul Oakenfold still in?
You know, we had this conversation.
Is he? Do you know Junior? Is he in?
Is he in?
He's not like one of the main guys, but yeah, he's still very relevant.
Okay.
Very well respected.
Like
and
Paul
still
Oakenfold
like an OG.
Tiesto.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those names are still around there.
Yeah, because like, do the kids even know these?
I don't know. The kids now know like a Zed.
So
or DJ LaRue, or whatever.
But there's kids out there that have never lived in a world without Ultra.
And you know that's
Ultra's just always been there.
It's always existed. They've just always had Ultra and social media.
Just like we've never
shares.
lived in a world without Calle Ocho.
That's true.
Or the fair.
Or the fair. Oh, the fair.
Or what other festivals?
The book fair.
The book fair. Bueno.
The Coconut Grove Arts Festival.
Right.
This is a fun game because I'm gonna hit a wall very soon. Probably something in the Mekasuki. Yeah, like don't you remember on Channel 33 they would always advertise the Mekasuki festivals?
There's kids who are like getting up in age now that don't know what Sábado Gigante is.
Oh, los pobres.
El mejor pretexto para quedarse en casa.
Yeah.
Como dice que dijo.
Yeah, they think El Chacal is just a jackal.
They wouldn't have gotten the Marcelo Sábado Gigante reference.
They didn't understand it. They didn't.
You know what's so incredible? That like now actually speaking about SNL, I find maybe this is a cultural thing or an age thing. I don't know. Like I find that my parents and a lot of people like my parents do not get SNL.
Well, okay.
I think it's cultural.
Well, number one, it's absolutely cultural. I mean, because
like, for
we're
example,
talking about your parents also came to this country a lot older than, like, for instance, my parents. So there's that divide to begin with. But I also think that SNL, you have to get American humor, period, in its biggest form to build off of.
But for example, that Sábado Gigante skit that Marcelo Hernandez did a few months ago. About Sábado Gigante that we ranted and raged
like 2 or 3 of
how
them,
much we loved it.
It was so accurate.
I remember showing my parents and they did not find it funny at all. Like at all. And I'm like, but you know this reference.
Right.
You know every reference. They didn't even find the hat funny. And I was there cracking up with the hat.
Okay, because here's the thing. When your parents watched Sábado Gigante, they were actually watching Sábado Gigante.
Well, so was I.
Right. But they don't view it through the camp lens of ridiculousness that you have to understand in order for that skit to be funny.
Right. They saw Sábado Gigante for what it was, but not the camp monster that it is.
Correct.
Right.
So they didn't see it as a joke because it was not a joke. It was what we were watching.
Yeah, and Don Francisco changed hats.
Right, and that's just...
We never questioned why the Chacal de la Trompeta was dressed the way he was. Right. We didn't question that.
No, Don Francisco had a secret haberdashery. That's fine. You know,
so when you're poking fun of it in a campy way, you're like, why?
Why was that? But that wasn't funny. But that was the show. Right. So that's the disconnect.
But I think it's cultural though.
But that's what I'm saying. That is the cultural disconnect. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Because sometimes, again, I play stuff for them. Like I remember when my prima, which shall name be unnamed, was on Ana de Arma, was on Sábado Gigante a couple of years ago.
On SNL.
SNL. That she was on SNL.
Unless she time traveled.
A couple of years ago. That was such a Cuban-centric skit that she did with Marcelo as well. My parents didn't find it funny either.
Right, because your parents also didn't go to school in this country.
There's that.
They will never understand being in that school scenario and having, even here in Miami, having that, those new Cuban kids show up. They don't know what that means. So, yes. I think you're starting to see a common theme here. You're expecting your parents to find things funny that they've never experienced.
No. No.
No. Yeah. You're the problem.
It's me. I'm the
you're
problem. It's me.
Yes, Taylor. Yes. But it's funny you bring up the Sal Gigante and the SNL of it all, because I wanted to bring up something that I saw.
That's why we're here.
I did. Well, that is why we're here. Why are any of us here? No. So I saw something the other day, and I'm looking for the actual photo screenshot that I took on Instagram. That it was one of these. I forget what they're called. It was one of these like Latino centric, but like American Latino centric social media pages or whatever. And they were saying, they posted that calling somebody a no Sabo Kid is a slur. And they went into it because it's like it's a slur because you're saying that they are not Latino enough, and you're essentially gatekeeping like what is Latino and what isn't, and and language doesn't dictate culture and all of that. Well, yes and no. And in the comment section, which I never go into the comment section, but because of last week, I'm like, let me take a peek. There was a lot of back and forth. Some people were like, yes, absolutely it is, and this and that. But I kind of wound up siding with the people who were saying it wasn't a slur. Mostly because the people who were saying it is like, well, a slur is intended to hurt and to make you feel, less than. Right. And that's fine and dandy. But I don't think that calling somebody a no Sabo Kid has the same impact as the N-word, or calling somebody.
Wait, what's that? The comparison they were making?
No. But when I think of slur, when I think of a slur, right? That's those. I think of like spick. I think of like the N-word.
Okay.
I think of faggot.
Okay.
These are words that I think
beep that out. Okay,
well,
but
no,
I think we could all agree that even within slurs, we don't like them. We shouldn't use them. But there is a spectrum, right?
Right, but
none of them are nice.
Right, but
we don't want to say them. We don't want to call it somebody that.
But I don't think that going up to somebody and being like, "Oh, you're a no Sabo Kid," is going to require them to. I mean, again, I'm speaking from my own experience. I don't think that's going to require somebody to go into like therapy. I don't think you can report a hate crime.
But I also think it's the intentions of the person saying the no Sabo Kid.
Okay, I mean that's
calling
fair.
you a no Sabo Kid.
That's fair. I just think a slur, using the word slur,
but
to me
what they were saying is that it's a slur.
It's a slur. They said it is a slur, and to me that seemed like a bridge too far, in terms of and maybe it's because of how I view the word slur.
So in true transparency, I didn't know no Sabo was a thing until maybe a year ago.
Yeah.
I had never heard the term. I didn't know what it was. I'm from Miami. Like, there's no Sabo here.
Well, there are. There are this new generation. Listen, my nephews don't really speak Spanish. Their Spanish is awful. They are the equivalent of a no Sabo Kid.
Right, but then my question is, I think you're a no Sabo Kid only if you, or a no Sabo person, only if it's imperative for you to identify as Latino. If it's not, then are you a no Sabo Kid?
I mean,
because what I'm saying is, if your nephews, for example, who don't speak Spanish, right, they're still a little young, but let's say once they're older, they're in their 20s,
16, 17,
right? Once they're in their 20s, let's say that your oldest nephew is in his 20s, and being Latino is very much of the essence of who he is and the fabric of who he is, and he's proud of his Latin roots, and he's like, arroz con gris, yuca, all that, but he doesn't speak Spanish. Then I would be like, okay, maybe he would fit that no Sabo, which again, I learned that terminology a year ago, maybe. But if he's not, if he's like, well, yeah, my parents are Latin or they're Cuban, meh.
Right.
But it's not really who he is, then is he a no Sabo Kid?
Well, but I mean, I guess
because I think to me, I mean, these are things that are very layered. I may get some pushback for this, and I'm gonna, may get criticism from this, but these are the views of us, and this is our show. I think that language is a huge part of the culture, and we should stop pretending that it's not. Now, I think that if you identify as Latino and you don't speak Spanish, I don't think anybody should tell you that you're not Latino, because at the end of the day, it is what you feel like and what you identify as. And if you are someone of Latin heritage and you identify as a Latino person, and it's in your food and your dynamic with your family and all that, and you don't speak Spanish, I don't think you should be shamed for not speaking Spanish. And I definitely don't think that you should be told by somebody that you are not Latino. What I have a bit of and I push back on is that we've tried to kind of now sort of take away the relevancy of language. Like, oh, you don't need to know Spanish. No, actually, Spanish or the language is a huge, huge, huge part of it. And let's not pretend it's not. From Spanglish, the way we speak Spanglish, to the way we speak to our friends, to the way we speak to our families, to the things. Like, for example, I'm sure that your nephews don't say certain sayings and slangs that we say, because we grew up in that.
Right, of course.
So my problem is with no. Language is not as that important. I think it's very much important.
Well, but the argument, the counter to that is like, I mean, I'll use the first thing that pops in my mind is, people who identify as Italian and don't speak Italian. Does that that doesn't mean they're not Italian in their mind, in their, because it's about the culture, it's about the food, it's about, but they maybe don't speak it.
Right.
Right.
They may not speak it. And if they're Italian, but let's not pretend that Italian, the language, from the sayings to the passion on how you speak, is not a big part of that culture. And I think that the problem is, and a lot of people now are making the argument of like, well, no, you could be 100% Latino, and no, you don't need to speak Spanish. Like, no, I think that you could be Latino and identify as Latino, but let's not pretend that the Spanish is not a big part of it, because it is. It is. And that's my problem with it, because language is it's language. It is what a big part of that culture is on. Do your nephews say the sayings that we say? And we're practically first generation. Well, you're first generation. I'm technically not first generation, but I kind of am.
No, but they don't. But
they don't.
But that's
right.
also just...
Do your nephews talk to your sister, which is their mother, the way that, for example, I talk to my parents?
Well, of course not.
Do they say those disparate that they say? Do they say like, oye, mima, oye, abu?
Well, no.
They don't.
They don't.
Right.
But
And isn't that a huge part of the identification as you growing up as a Cuban?
I mean, for us, but here's where I'm coming from. For us, yes, it was. But I think the same way that we've said, for instance, like generations now wouldn't get Que Pasa USA necessarily in the same way. I think that the cultures evolve. And again, you can't expect someone that has been here, with each generation that passes, you lose some of that.
Okay.
And you can't expect that 2-3 generations in, if they're not, again, I'll use my nephews as the example. My nephews do speak Spanish here and there, and they understand it cuando le conviene. But the minute that they know, which is something that I didn't have, like with my grandparents, right? My grandparents may have understood English, but they never, I was never going to speak to them in English because it was not going to happen. My nephews know that my parents speak English. So even if my parents speak to them in Spanish, they know they speak in English, everybody understands, we move on. Like, so, and with the subsequent generations, that's just going to continue.
Right.
But that doesn't make them any less Latino, Cuban American culturally, because on the 24th, they do Noche Buena. They love Congri. They listen to Celia Cruz, or whatever the case may be.
I think it does. I'm not saying that somebody who does not speak Spanish should not call. I mean, I want to make that very clear. I don't think that somebody who doesn't speak Spanish cannot be Latino or cannot call themselves Latino. And if they identify as Latino, no one in this world should tell them that they are not or they're any less.
Right.
With that said, if you do not speak the language, you are missing a big part of the culture. Huge. And let's not pretend you're not. Let's not, because it is. And I know it's very the culturally proper thing to say that you're not. I mean, politically correct thing to say that no. But let's not pretend you're not. Imagine you, so that again, your parents were raised here. Imagine your Cubanness, your Latinness,
like Cubanity,
your Cubanity, to quote, Martha Darby. If you did not speak Spanish,
well, we wouldn't probably have the show,
right?
I mean, let's start with that. Right?
Which this is what we talk about,
right? And
that's not to say, again, as you said, that second, third generations, it's gonna fade away. That's not to say that if you are fifth generation Italian American, you are not Italian, right? But You're Italian by name. You're Italian by family customs. You're Italian probably by food, but you don't speak Italian. And Italian is a very big part of Italian culture. Like how it's not even the words. It's just even how they speak, how you enunciate, the cadence, the passion, all that. That is a huge part of the culture. So let's not pretend it's not. Let's not pretend it's not. What do you think, Junior?
I think it's probably a little bit covered with the fact that we're from here. So this is a city that if you don't speak Spanish, you don't survive.
Mm-hmm.
But this isn't the only city that exists in the entire world. And I don't think if you don't know the language, you can't experience the culture fully. Because I've been to Morocco and I don't speak French or Arabic or anything. And I experienced it full blown and was making my own connections to it. There's a Casablanca in Morocco, and a Casablanca in Cuba, where my mom was born. And I don't know. What was the question again?
No, the importance of language to, well, especially if it's your culture.
Right.
I think because of where we're at, it's more of a hot topic.
We look at it from a different lens.
And I was raised obviously with the whole, like en esta casa se habla español, you know?
Yeah.
And the same thing with the grandparents. But Steph, my other half, she doesn't speak fluent Spanish at all, and her name is Stephanie Perez, but she never met her Cuban grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
She's half Canadian.
Oh, whoa.
Wow.
So
She's a Cuban Canadian?
Yeah, from Perrine.
Wow.
So ya tú sabes.
Well, talk about unicorns.
Sorry, eh? But she's technically a no Sabo, but she's so proud of her Cuban roots and everything, as well as her Canadian roots.
Right.
But she leans heavy into whatever she is, and if you don't speak the language, I don't know. Like, I get it, but I don't think it's like a thing that breaks whether you're
I don't think it breaks either. And I think, like,
there's
for
a lot
example,
of parents too that also, like, I have friends named Matthew that Cuban, but their biblical name Paul, Matthew.
Not Mateo,
seriously,
not
I
Pablo.
have these friends, and they were raised to not speak Spanish.
Well, have
a better opportunity at everything.
That's
cetera,
exactly
that the parents were worried about.
Yeah, I was also going to say about that, like the No Sabo kids. Some of them, it's at the end of the day, it's not even their fault, because remember that up until like maybe what I'm gonna use 20 years ago as like a nice barometer of a nice round number, but probably not even that long ago. You showed up to this country, didn't matter where you were from, and the goal was assimilate, get rid of any trace of the other, right? Become part of this U.S. culture thing that you had to be. So a lot of times, you also have these people who grew up being told you don't speak Spanish because that's going to other you, that's going to make you less than in the eyes of others. Then they grow up and they now want to have that connection that they didn't have growing up. And the language was never imparted on them, but they're trying to connect to these things. And so now, they're being a no Sabo kid, quote unquote, through no fault of their own.
Well, I mean, the no fault of your own, that's another conversation, right? But, the point you make, Junior, of like being here, for example, if your nephews were living in Idaho, they'd probably be very ethnic.
Oh, yeah.
Totally ethnic.
Oh, yeah.
And there'll be those Latino kids from Miami.
Ethnic.
Right? There would be very ethnic Latino kids from Miami, right? So again, I'm not saying that you cannot identify as Latino if you don't speak Spanish. Quite the contrary, as I said many times. If that is how you identify, nobody can tell you that you're not. What I'm just simply saying is that let's not pretend that the language is not a big part of it, because it is. It's a huge part of it. I mean, how I see the world is very much influenced by the fact that I speak Spanish. And yours too.
Yeah, that's fair.
Your nephews say things and you express yourself in ways that your nephews don't.
Oh, of course. I mean,
right?
Yeah,
that is very much to the center of your Latin experience and your Cubanness, right? And your nephews don't. So that's what I'm saying. We can't pretend that it's not. It doesn't mean it's the defining factor, that it's like, it's this or nothing, but I think it's a very big deal. It's a very big deal. So
I will say I found it funny when Chris from Chris, our other substitute producer, when we were filming the suits thing, he's like, "Oh, I'm a no Sabo Kid," and then he proceeds to like speak 17,000 paragraphs in Spanish, and I'm like, "Sir, I don't think you know what that means."
No.
I don't think that term doesn't mean what you think it means. He's like,
Right.
"Oh, I speak Spanish awful," and I'm like, "Dude, you speak Spanish better than most people on a daily basis."
So, speaking of Spanish,
Okay.
I brought props today.
Ooh, props.
I brought props. So, this is a little rant I'm going to have. So, I want you to
DJ's
chime
rant
in.
corner.
I want Junior for you to chime in. And I want our viewers, well, especially viewers, to chime in. So,
Hey, what's in the bolsa? It's not Gwyneth Paltrow's head, is it?
what do we call this? What do we call this,
A lime?
Junior?
Una lima.
A lime.
Okay.
What do we call this?
A lemon?
Un limon.
Okay. So,
It's like Sesame Street over here.
going back to culture.
Okay.
So this is a big difference between American culture and American language. And I'm not sure if this is only a Cuban thing or a Latin thing or a Caribbean thing.
Okay.
I can only speak to the Cuban part of it.
Okay.
But our listeners and viewers from other Latin American countries or Caribbean countries, please chime in. So for me, again, this is a lime.
That's a lemon.
This is a lime. This is a lemon. To my Cuban parents, my Cuban families, and to Cubans, estos son limones. Limón verde y limón amarillo. To Cubans especially, this is the only one that exists. This blew my mind. This blew my mind. So I remember I asked recently somebody who's only been here a few years, I asked him, ¿qué es esto? And he's like, un limón amarillo. And I'm like, ¿y qué es esto? Un limón verde. And I'm like, what? But to Cubans especially, this is the only one.
When you say limon, it's that.
This is limón.
Yeah.
This is what I always grew up in my house. This. So it made me realize that because in Cuban world, yellow lemons don't exist. It's the lime. I grew up with my mom and my aunt making me limonada out of this. So my life was a lie. I was drinking Limeade my entire life, being told que era limonada, and it's not.
Wait.
It's Limeade. I grew up on freaking Limeade.
You were having Limeade before it was packaged?
Because to Cubans, lemons don't exist. It's only limes. So that, ladies and gentlemen,
I see the lemon. All right. I love the smell of a lemon.
so good. Junior, did you grow up with lemons or limes?
Limón verde. La
Limón
lima.
verde.
La
We
lima.
had a
Lima.
lime tree in the backyard.
You had a
growing up.
lime tree, right? Nobody has a lemon tree. ¿Quién tú has visto que tiene una mata de limón? Tú tienes una mata, tú tienes una mata de lima o limón verde
Right.
o una mata de naranja agria.
Agria, yeah,
No
for sure.
una mata de naranja.
No, agria.
Naranja agria.
Agria. Meanwhile, we live in Florida, but we don't have oranges.
No,
We
for
only
that
have
you
sour
have to go to
oranges.
Orange County. In Dade County, we don't have oranges.
Orange County?
We have naranja agria.
Yes. We're sour down here.
So yeah, I grew up having limeade my entire life when I was told that it was lemonade. Like, what the F? Listeners,
I think you should reclamar.
yeah, listeners, did you grow up on limeade or did you grow? No.
Okay.
No.
Let me ask you a
Move your
question.
heads for the
Let me ask you
camera.
a question. Hold on.
Listeners, did you grow up on limeade being told it was lemons, or did you grow up on real lemonade? Comment below.
Okay, let me ask you a question about this. Now I have questions. I have curiosities.
In other words, Cubans don't get what Sprite is made out of.
No. For them, it's just a taste of lemon.
No, pero that's what my parents say. They go, nosotros queremos de limón.
They don't know about limon?
No, limon. ¿Qué limon? ¿Qué limon? There's only one thing. There's a lime. ¿Qué es un limón?
Okay, wait.
And you know what? Maybe it's not me being bougie or having a refined palate. To me, they don't taste the same.
Well, they're different.
Right. And they don't taste the same.
Maybe I'm wrong, but I think lemon is a little sweeter.
They
no?
have very distinct smells, taste,
Yeah.
and smells, and colors.
Okay, wait. So then when your parents go to a restaurant and they order limonada, do they think they're getting it made of that?
Absolutely.
They think it's a lime that's been squeezed.
They don't ask many questions at this point. But to them,
you know what? Have them order it on a plane if there's no clamato.
Right. To them, limonada is made out of this, a lime. A lime. Because I found out about this not too long ago. And the other day I started like doing research. Like I started asking people like in my family, and I even asked, my kid's therapist. I'm like, you have two fruits. What are they? And he's like, limón verde y limón amarillo. Pero nosotros nada más usamos el limón verde.
But what I think is funny is that there's an actual word for lime. It's Lima. Like, and yet, not even that.
That's why I started this conversation with the asterisk of, I don't know if this is only a Cuban thing, or is it a Caribbean thing, or is it a Latin thing, right? I don't know. I can only speak to the Cuban part of it. So that's why I said, listeners or viewers from other countries, comment below or let us know what you grew up with. But my life was a lie. And here I was, when I was in my 20s, like, oh my God, I really want to try those Limeades from Sonic's. How
little
different.
Did you know? Little did you know that your parents have been giving you Limeade for years.
I was the OG Limeade.
You were. You didn't even know you were having it. That's how OG you are.
And the funny thing is that they continue to make lemonade at home. They make lemonade for my kid all the time out of limes. And I never stopped to think about it. Do you think that my parents at this point in time are going to start buying lemons? Like...
Honestly, okay,
okay,
it's not that I think they're going to start buying lemons, but I feel like at this point your parents would probably get whatever's cheapest. So I'm wondering if there was ever a moment where they were like, ay, agarra el amarillo porque está más barato.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
No. Eso es otra cosa. Esto es limón. Limón es verde.
They don't know what to do with that one.
Yeah, what's that for? They don't have lemons in Cuba. As you said, name me somebody in Miami who has a lemon tree. Lemon, yellow, lemon. No one. Pero todo el mundo tiene un lime tree.
It's lime, what we have.
Yeah.
I'm sure there's someone out there, but...
Mira, the trees of Miami, the citrus of Miami, Lima, naranja agria. Then you have o una mata de aguacate o una mata de mango. You don't have both.
Oh.
You don't have both. Unless you live in freaking, I don't know, a farm or a horse country or
space, yeah.
something. In your house, you either have una mata de mango o una mata de aguacate, pero no de los dos.
Well, I mean, each one is a very big investment.
And it's a very big tree.
Well, that's right. Yeah,
right. Entonces, la casa de huevo un monte. Yeah. And then, if you have the citrus trees, then they start getting canker and all that stuff.
Como jodían con el canker.
They came and took all my parents' lime trees.
You thought it was lemon trees. It was not.
I knew it was a lime, but I had the Cuban hat on. See the language, and I was thinking lime when it was really lemon to them, but really it's lime.
That's why the first time a Cuban has an actual lemonade, they go, "Esto está muy dulce."
Yes,
esto está muy dulce.
Yes, that's what I mean, because lemon's a little sweeter.
Limeade the whole time.
Yes, lemon is a little sweeter. I know there's sugar in it,
but let's take them to Sonic so they could have industrial limeade, and they'll be like, "This tastes so similar, so familiar."
Esto sabe a casa.
Es verdad, because anytime that I would buy a country time lemonade or some bullshit like that, they'd be like, "¿Qué es eso?"
Too sweet. It's too sweet.
Junior, yes.
You're absolutely right. Meanwhile, we just don't care about canker anymore.
Did the canker go away in Florida?
I was gonna say, did we just eradicate canker? Because I remember that was there was the letters on the door.
Oh, we got money for it. We got $25 for.
Yeah. Eso no te cobraba nada.
No, and we never got our lime tree back.
It would have been great if they would have replaced it with a lemon tree.
I thought mata de limón, but it's lime.
No, it would have been great if they would have replaced it with a lemon tree.
Real lemon tree?
And then your parents would have been like, ¿Qué es esto? Pero esto es amarillo. Yo no entiendo estos limones.
Lemon limes. Está podrido. ¿Qué limones son eso?
No. Eso parece que tiene una bacteria.
So, again, I don't think they had yellow lemon trees in Cuba. I don't think they had them.
They must not have.
What is that exotic fruit? Citrus.
Well, they didn't have much fruits and vegetables in Cuba.
That's I always think in Cuba, did they have kumquats and
hell no?
And,
You've
zucchinis?
seen a Cuban salad?
Let's talk about the Cuban salad.
You've seen a Cuban salad?
A Cuban salad.
That is the saddest thing on earth.
A Cuban salad is lechuga, tomate y aguacate con aceite de oliva.
Maybe like cebolla.
Con
Slices
aceite de
of onion,
oliva y vinagre.
Yeah. Salt. That's it.
Y
Yeah.
vinagre.
Yeah, uh-huh.
And I'm like,
And it's not even pretty.
I'm like, that's cut up vegetables with oil and vinegar. That's no salad.
There's literally no art to this.
That's why, whatever. No. And you know what's great? I love me a good salad.
Yes.
You know I'm a salad
You
person,
do enjoy
right?
roughage.
And it's so funny because whenever I'm in my parents' house and I come in and I bring a salad from wherever and I eat it from them, they're like, sí, porque tú comes las ensaladas de otros lugares, pero nunca las ensaladas de aquí. And I'm like, tú nada más haces dos ensaladas. O la ensalada esa de tomate y aguacate and all that.
Sure.
O una ensalada rusa.
Which I love ensalada rusa, but
I don't like ensalada
I like
rusa.
potato salad.
No. O una ensalada de codito.
Oh, codito. That's the macaroni salad. Yes. When they make those elbow salads.
No, you know what's funny? You know how you always talk about, fulano va a traer la paella. It's something similar to codito.
Really?
With less fanfare. Have you ever gone to a party and they're like, Sandra va a traer la ensalada de codito?
Oh no, I've never been to a codito party.
I don't want the elbow salad.
Just a bowl full of this.
Que Sandrita va a traer una ensalada de codito y lo rico que le queda a ella. And I'm like,
It's like I've had cold macaroni. It's fine.
What is your story? You've said it a couple of times, but I crack up every time you say it.
The chicken salad.
Where is it that you asked me chicken salad?
All right, we're gonna go down memory lane and talk about Ish's chicken salad experience at Cow Bakery.
Well, we're name dropping here.
Well, it's where it happened. So I go to Cow Bakery. It was like again.
Was it with the gift certificate?
No, it was not with the gift certificate. That they never knew how to fucking.
That's a whole spin-off series of Pero, let me tell
That's
you.
a whole other story. So I go to Cow Bakery and it was late because they're open 24 hours, and so we were coming back from an event or whatever. And I love me a chicken salad. That's like the one thing.
I love me a chicken salad too.
But that's also the one thing I feel like when I lived in New York for some reason, I just got like this affinity.
And you could have it as a wrap, as a sandwich, as a salad,
as a
as a
dip.
snack.
It's so versatile.
You know?
Really, it is. It's the meal that keeps on giving. So I get to Cow, whatever, and we're looking, and I notice that they have chicken salad. They have made
In the tub.
In the tub. The chicken salad exists. It is there. I am not asking for anything that they have to make. I am not asking for anything that is not in front of their face. I am not asking for anything that is not labeled as chicken salad.
It's there.
It is there.
En la vidriera.
I don't know
That's
what
another great
that is
Spanish
another
word.
great Spanish
See,
word.
if you're no Sabo, how do you know what great word that is?
You don't know that one. You don't know butacón.
Portarretrato.
Portarretrato. Hipoteca.
Hipoteca. Mortgage. Okay, go ahead.
I don't know what possessed me at that moment to be like, oh, I want chicken salad, but I would like a chicken salad sandwich. So I look at the menu and I'm like, well, there is no chicken salad sandwich option. But I'm like, well, I know they have Cuban bread because they make sandwiches. And I know they have chicken salad because I am staring at the 7, pozuelos of, chicken salad. So I get the bright idea to ask. I'm like,
A Zenaida, que está ahí.
So I asked
Zenaida Yudi with a Y.
So I'm like, Seni, do ustedes pueden hacer tienen la ensalada de pollo, el chicken salad, ustedes pueden ponerlo en pan cubano, like poner pan cubano. And she has looked at me, she's like, pero en el pan. I'm like, sí, como un sandwich, like en el pan, girl. Bueno, eso está raro. Yo no sé, nunca he oído eso. Like, she had never thought of ever putting this. I don't even think she knew what that was in the corner there. Now, not only did she not know what it was, but then I hear her going into the kitchen. No quiere la ensalada esa de pollo, ponlo en un pan. Sí, no, en un pan. And the guy comes out, he's like, pero en un pan, ponerle el chicken sale ese en un pan. And I'm like, guys, I'm not asking for anything weird. Like, I'm not asking you to make like an hígado cupcake. Okay?
A la romana.
Exactly.
The hígado romana.
Yeah, I'm not asking for like, a fucking liver cupcake, I'm asking you to take the thing. 25 people must have come out of that kitchen
Okay,
to see
but
what I was asking
But you know what's
for.
so weird is that they'll make you a bocadito sandwich with the same paste.
Same fucking, it's just ham instead of chicken.
Yes.
This is not, again, all I said was just put it in between two things of bread. You have the bread.
So my question is,
It blew their
that is a
fucking mind.
great story.
I don't even know how they found how to charge me for that, by the way.
Oh no!
Because
That
doesn't
was a
exist.
special order.
I probably paid $42 for that.
POS
Like-
system, went haywire.
Oh yeah, no. They probably charged me 17 croquetas and a pastelito, like for all I know.
So what do you eat? The chicken salad, the Cuban chicken salad con una galletita de soda nada más?
I guess. But the thing is that they sell it in this like big ass Tupperware thing.
Oh,
so
en
it's
una
a whole
galletita de
tub.
soda, una galletita de ginda.
Una galleta cubana.
Ah, sí, una ginda.
Yeah, una galleta. Yeah.
Man, mira that Cubans love export sodas. And it has to be Keebler. It can be Ducks.
That's true.
You know that Ducks brand?
And mira que Dux, they try. They try their trickery.
But I got the thing with Keebler.
Because at one time, Dux even had a red and green tin.
Right, but no.
And then they had to go blue and white.
Right, no, but the Keebler tin is green,
Right.
so it's very distinguishable.
Yeah.
And as we've discussed many times,
It's versatile too.
Cubans and Latin people were great at upcycling. The Keebler tin is bigger than the Ducks tin.
Oh, so you can store more arroz.
store more arroz, more
more
frijole,
frijole.
or whatever it is.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Listen, we don't let a good tin, thing go away.
We
Whether it's sewing equipment with the Donsk, the Royal Donsk, or rice with the Keebler elves.
Y lo tienen en el dance porque cabe en la gaveta.
Yes, claro. It's only about 3
Keebler pa'
inches.
pantry
Sí,
y el dance para la
sí,
gaveta.
sí. Para el pantry, ahí abajo en los gabinetes de la cocina. Y claro, el Royal Donsk. I wonder, they're Swedish, right? No, Sweden.
Dutch, no?
Dutch. I wonder if they know that over there.
like if it's made its way back. We have word.
Do they know that with those picturesque windmills, those cans are special in the West for reasons that you don't know?
I mean, honestly, at this point, they should just start also selling like sewing kits in them.
I mean, yeah.
Cut out the middleman.
Yeah.
Fuck it. We now sell Royal Dansk sewing kit.
Can you imagine? Well, you can't go to Joann Fabrics anymore because
true.
they're closing. But can you imagine if you go to una retrasera? No, retrasera. Oh, that's una retrasera. Retrasera.
Like
A textile.
Okay.
Oh, I grew up going to the retrasera.
I just didn't know it was called that in
See,
Spanish.
so I grew up going to the retacera because since my grandmother could sew, ella le hacía a mi mamá mucha ropa de molde.
That's right. Oh my God, yes. You know what I find fascinating? Is you can have ropa de molde y pan de molde.
And you could eat pan de molde while you're
While
wearing
making your ropa de molde, yeah.
So my grandmother would make my mom a lot of ropa de molde. So they would go buy these well, they're not molds. These, how would you say it? Molds? Molds for clothing?
It's a mold, yeah.
It's a mold? Okay, she will go buy all these molds. There were a lot of jumpsuits.
Simplicity pattern. That's what they were called.
That would come in the paper thing. And, my grandmother would do them. And my grandmother, like most, women from that time, somehow she knew what she was, she didn't know what she was doing, but she will cut here, cut there, and it was like a mess on top of the table. But somehow, in a day or two, my mom had a jumpsuit with a belt. And
Just like Patricia
what was
Fields.
great about these clothing that my mom would wear is that somehow they would end up in Cuba.
Well, of course. As we just mentioned, we are very big on upcycling.
They would end up in Cuba. But wait, where were we going with this?
I totally lost the plot, so I have no clue.
The retacera. We used to go to the retacera with my grandmother to buy tela. And that's what I learned when a yard was, because my grandmother would go in there. She's like, "Cuánto la yarda?"
Oh, wait, is that how you say yard in Spanish, or
La
is that
yarda.
how we say yard
La
in
yarda.
Spanish? Like Lima, like Limon verde.
Okay, she would say "Cuánto la yarda?"
La yarda.
So
Okay.
and it makes sense because yard is in the metric system, whereas we say meter.
That's right.
Cubans in the metric system.
true.
That's why when you're Cuban, you don't have 100, you have 39.
Oh yeah, that totally threw me off for the longest fucking time.
No, a word that I love that I learned when I had a kid, destemplanza.
Oh, you had never heard destemplanza?
Well, when they would say destemplanza around me, I was the baby, so I didn't.
Oh no,
heard
I
it.
had destemplanza up until like my early teens.
You had destemplanza in your teens?
Yes, in my tweens, I was destemplating.
That's such a great word. Destemplanza. Niño tiene destemplanza. And I'm like, oh, so he just has a light fever?
Yeah, he has like 99.
Ten cuidado. And you know what causes destemplanza?
Es sereno.
Es sereno.
Of course.
And you know.
Well, we know what we know what happens with the sereno.
We know things go downhill
You're not
quick.
going to get any kind of lemon. Green or yellow. No.
You can make limeade out of it, though.
You can make lime out of it because it's moisture. So yes, you can make limeade during the sereno.
Has anybody made lemonade out of una naranja agria?
I'm sure. Well, I mean, es una naranja at the end of the day, so I'm sure you could. So es el mismo rayo encendido.
And naranja agrias are so ugly. They all look like they have canker.
They all look like how did they know that those were not like canker? And like, no.
You know what I think? I think it's nature's way of telling us don't eat meat. I smell like and taste like shit.
But then it tastes great as a
marinade.
As a marinade, yeah.
Yeah. Well,
Somebody had to figure that out.
Well, I mean, that took years of trial and error. And they probably started using naranja agria because they ran out of lemons.
Oh. Agarra la fruta esa fea.
It all circles back. It all circles back.
Oh, now I'm thinking about the closure of Joann Fabric and like where people are going to go to get Vanna White's yarn.
They can't go to Kmart either.
No.
Do people still buy yarn?
Well, if you knit, yes.
Who knits?
Knitters.
Okay.
People knit like.
Wait, you knit with yarn?
Yeah.
Honestly, I just bought yarn to do school projects.
But yeah, you knit with the big sticks and yarn.
Mm. When I think up until my 30s, I thought that knitting was that thing that you would stick the needle in and then you'd make like a dog pattern that looked like a rug. You don't know what I'm talking about?
Macrame?
Oh, that's what it's called?
Yeah. That's macrame.
Macromedia? Macro. But I just think of Adobe.
Well, because you just said
Wait, Macromedia. Macromedia is from the early aughts, right?
Is it?
Macromedia, right? That's what would play videos.
No, that's Real Media.
Real Media.
That's Real Media.
Right. Like, what is the Real Media Flash player that you would want to delete it and you would not delete?
It would not go away. No. It was harder to get rid of the canker.
I hated that Real Media. Didn't you feel like a badass when you got your tower computer, you put a CD recorder, a CDR?
Yeah. It's like, I can control shit now, bitch.
Such a badass. I'm like, you see my computer has 2 CD-ROMs. How many does yours have?
I can record and play.
I can record and play. Yeah. And then I can play it on my real player. As in real.
Who's a gangsta now?
I remember I had an IBM Aptiva, and my IBM Aptiva was pretty badass. It was a Pentium 2.
Oh, wow.
No, it was a Pentium 2.
Coño, wow.
Yeah. No, I went from 486 to Pentium 2.
Oh, you up?
Oh, no. I moved on up like the Jeffersons. And I remember it was black. It was badass. But then when I got my CDR-ROM, it was beige. So it just stood out.
Oh, that's not, no.
It just stood out.
That must have bothered you
what's
so
funny?
much.
I have a picture of my room that, well, you remember my room,
yes.
Right? That my desk is like the most 90s thing ever. So it's a picture. I saw it the other day. It's a picture of my desk that I had in my room, right? Okay. And on top of the desk, I had several of the Disney Masterpiece collections.
I remember this.
On VHS that I used to collect. And then this was shortly after I graduated high school. So I had a Precious Moments graduation, a little boy with a cap and gown. I had my Aptiva CD-ROM computer. I had my Canon printer. And in the screensaver or desktop thing, it was a picture of Jennifer Lopez from her first album.
Ladies and gentlemen, 1998.
You know that picture she looks really hot in that she's like laying down on the sofa from it's like her first album?
Yeah.
That one.
That's from the single.
Yeah.
I know exactly from
It's like they need to use this in one of these like 90s, things.
You should submit it.
What's more 90s than DJ's desk in the 90s?
The only way it could have been more 90s if it was that
had
green and blue combo.
What green and blue combo?
You know that green and blue combo that was on
Forest
all the clothing.
green?
No. Like remember the grad night shirt that it had it was that like green and blue. Like that was very of its time.
In the 90s it was just about forest green and gold.
It was.
Yeah, cars.
Burgundy had a moment.
Yes, Burgundy had a big mustard.
Mustard. Oh yes. Wow. Yes.
And sometimes you had all three colors and they were all Tommy Hilfiger.
Yes. Apparently we were just trying to recreate like the visual of, a sandwich, like, just burgundy, mustard and green, like just, lettuce.
That's Burger King.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Isn't it ingenious that just by colors you could see what a Burger King hamburger looks like?
I'm like, well, there we go. And we were all dressing like one in the 90s.
Today's listen, laugh, and learn. The learn was that we learned lemons don't exist for at least Cubans.
It's true. Potentially the Caribbean. I have a feeling it's a Caribbean thing.
It depends.
I have a feeling it's a Caribbean thing because in Puerto Rico they don't call oranges.
They call them China. But there are parts of Cuba they call them China.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they are.
Oh,
they
okay.
are.
Well, but there we go.
Because I've always told the story of my
Credence to
friend who, a close friend of mine that he's half Puerto Rican, half Dominican, and he calls it China, jugo de China.
Jugo de China, yeah.
And I was like, jugo de naranja. He's like, no, jugo de China.
Yeah. And I know that.
And then I remember when I told my
word.
father, he's like, no, there's parts of Cuba that they call it China.
Oh, I didn't know that part.
Porque está la naranja china, entonces la mandarina. And I'm like,
all right, I'm going to stop you right there because Mandarin is Chinese.
These things aren't supposed to make sense.
So therefore, somebody was asleep at the wheel for the naming convention.
But está la naranja china y está la mandarina. I didn't make up these rules.
I would believe this more if it was like la naranja mandarina y la naranja cantones. Okay,
I did not make. Ay, qué rico el cantón. ¿Te acuerdas del cantón? Oh, maybe it's because we were kids, but the cantón hit.
It just was so good.
You remember cantón?
All the MSG.
Coral Wade 87. Yep. Cantón.
All the MSG, baby. Just bring it.
Mira, those were our two fancy restaurants at Cantón and Pizza Hut. Yeah. And Sizzler. Those were the places my mom would wear her nice blouse to.
Well, yes. I mean, what was she going to save it for? Burger King?
No. It's Sizzler buffet.
A buffet.
Well, she would have real salad with French dressing. That's also gone. People don't have French dressing anymore.
Well, I don't think we care about dressing's nationalities anymore.
No,
because it was Italian dressing,
it's
French dress, all the vinaigrettes.
Yeah,
Lots of vinaigrettes.
With aiolis, you have like a drizzle of an aioli to add to your vinaigrette.
Yeah, think about it. It was like, it's Italian, it's French. Oh, this one's Thousand Island. Like, it was all about locations. Where did this dressing come from?
Russian.
Yes, yes.
And then they would have those little seeds.
Yeah.
In the Pizza Hut buffet.
Yeah. Nobody cares about where dressing comes from anymore.
No, they just want an artisanal, handmade,
aiolis.
Yeah. You know what we never bought? Those, ¿cómo se llama el paquetico ese of Italian dressing that you'll put in that glass thing?
Oh my God.
Italian seasoning? No, 1,000 seasonings? Or
I know exactly what you're talking about. I can see everything but the damn name.
That was a very Americano thing.
Yeah.
My parents didn't do that shit.
No. But that was up there during that time of like where they were trying to sell us on all the things that you could make at home that were not actually being made.
Like what?
Like your hamburger helpers and, shake and bake and I help. Like it was that time where like things were almost ready made.
It's funny that not too long ago I was talking to someone and she was telling me how she's black and she was telling me how if I made macaroni and cheese. Mm-hmm. And why did I say she? It was actually with a friend of mine. It was
well, you could have female friends. I'm just saying
that if I made mac and cheese, and I was like, I could probably make mac and cheese. I do make mac and cheese, right? Hence, I did it for a video.
Yes.
Like I could make a mac and cheese from a recipe, but I didn't grow up on mac and cheese, and mac and cheese is not a part of.
It's not our culture.
Culture at all. Like at all. Because I don't think I had real mac and cheese until I was I don't know, much older, unless I had mac and cheese at school. Because
you probably
had mac and cheese
You
at
probably
school,
did.
like in
Yeah.
the cafeteria.
Yeah.
But in my house, I mean, no me compraron ni a Kraft mac and cheese.
No, but your parents would make like macaroni, because my mom would make
No.
macaroni, just not mac and cheese.
No.
So she would make macaroni. She still does to this day. Would make macaroni with like a meat sauce.
Con picadillo.
Yeah,
But it wasn't. It was with a red sauce.
with a red sauce. Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
Maybe they did that, but mac and cheese, even like a boxed mac and cheese, no, we didn't do that.
Oh, the boys live on that shit. My
Well,
nephews.
yeah, but you know, they're no Sabo.
Yeah, they're no Sabo kids, exactly.
Right. No, because that's not part of the culture.
No, that's not part of the culture.
You know,
And mac and cheese.
And mac and-
Como
yellow
dice
mac and cheese.
Jenny Lorenzo. Mac and cheese.
that's not part of the culture.
No.
So, and mac and cheese.
Yeah, you're right. We grew up with that because we grew up with it here, like our knowledge of it, but we didn't grow up with it as a thing. Yeah.
Yeah. Sometimes my parents would buy, pizza, like frozen pizza, but it would always be like that Celeste brand.
Oh, Mama Celeste?
Does that even exist still? And I always be like, esa es la pizza de la vieja esa.
But why you gotta be so hateful against Mama
Because
Celeste?
when we were kids, they didn't
she
have.
crossed the ocean to come to this country to start a pizza business.
She's Italian. I don't know who Mama Celeste is.
Her name is Mama Celeste. What did you think she was? Bolivian?
I don't know. Southern?
She's making pizza.
I don't know. Southern people eat pizza. I mean, me, por favor.
Who would buy, hi, I'm Betty Sue's pizza?
Betty Sue probably makes a hell of a pizza.
I don't trust Betty Sue. I'll trust her for like a buttermilk biscuit, but not a
A pot
probably-
pie. A good pot pie.
Good
Oh,
pot
hell,
pie.
a pot pie. Oh my God, can you imagine if I went to Cal Bakery and asked for a pot pie?
Oh my gosh.
Sale el presidente de Cabo. What? ¿Qué tú dices?
You know that going back to what you said, Junior, about like, growing up in Miami. These are things that you grow up in Miami and like you love, but you hate at the same time. All right. So by my house, they opened up for, I don't want to go say anything bad about the business, but they opened up a bakery cafe that has a very French name.
Oh, okay, yes.
Okay. And they were building it out for months and they had all these like banners coming soon, because I don't want to put them on blast
right.
because I mean, it is what it is.
But they were advertising.
It's not even a criticism of them, but it's a eating establishment that has a very French name.
Right.
And I go and I was like super excited because it's literally right by my house. Like it's a 2-minute walk. Like I literally go out of my house and just walk down the street and it's there. And I was super excited about it because I'm like, I don't know why. These are things that I invented in my head. I'm like, they're probably going to have some really good steak frites.
Well, I mean, it's French.
With its
Why
very
not?
French
Yeah,
name.
Right.
So they finally opened. And when I go, I was like, why did I even think otherwise? Yeah, they had croissants, but everything else were like tequeños, pan de bono, which don't get me wrong. Pan de bono is Colombia's gift to humanity. I've said this many times, right?
Yeah, but this is not the Versailles you were thinking of.
Pan de bono, tequeños, pastelitos de guayaba, other assorted guava pastries. Don't get me wrong. We
Things
have a
you love.
guava wing.
Right.
But I wanted my steak frites.
Right.
And I don't know why I assumed
You
that
know what? I
with a
don't think you
very
were wrong.
French name, I was going to get a French bistro, but I didn't.
I don't blame you.
I got a Miami version of a French bistro.
No. You got a Miami version of something. I don't know with a French bistro. You got a Miami version of
And
something.
it's funny because this place has a big old French flag in the front with a guy with a beret.
That's the thing is that it's very decked out in like French
En
accoutrement.
français.
Yeah.
Oui.
Yeah.
C'est la vérité.
I think even accoutrement is a French.
Je
Is a French word.
voudrais steak frites.
You go, no, I want steak free too.
I'd probably go in there and go fromage, and they'll be like, "Qué?"
I say do it.
You probably go in there and go, "Oh, chocolat," and they'll be like, "Qué?"
Everyone comes from back there. ¿Qué dice el tipo?
Exactly. ¿Qué está buscando él?
Je voudrais les jambons. Je voudrais un sandwich de jambon avec le fromage.
Llama
¿Qué quieres el
911.
tipo?
Llama
¿Qué quieres el
911.
tipo?
Se está muriendo.
I want to have it. She said, "I'll have your epiphany, like your at
this place.
Yeah, but although they had no excuse because they had a prop there.
This is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
This is what I'm saying. They had multiples. There were tubs.
Yeah, you should have asked them. ¿Y con qué se come eso?
You know what I would have?
They would have told you con una cuchara.
You know
con
what?
un tenedor.
You know what? I guarantee you, if I had asked that, they wouldn't have known how to answer it. Because I guarantee you that Zenaida behind would be like, ay, mijo, yo no sé, eso está ahí, aquí jamás y nunca alguien viene, yo no sé, eso parece una pasta ahí, medio patiseca, blancusa.
Mira. Going back to language, just in the name of the silverware, think about the Spanish names and the English names. Un tenedor. Fork. Un cuchillo.
Knife.
Una cuchara. Spoon. How are you going to tell me that saying tenedor is not more dramatic than saying, hi, can I have a fork?
That's true. Fork is stupid. Forks are dumb. Give me a tenedor.
A tenedor.
Tenedor. Es que tenedor even sounds more like trident, like a trident. Like, I will rule this meal with my tenedor.
With my tenedor. Think about that.
Te voy a cortar con el cuchillo. I'm going to cut you with a knife.
Wait. In Spanish, a salt shaker is un salero, right?
Right.
What do you call the pepper shaker?
Peperadora.
Wait, what do you call the pepper shaker?
Well, I mean, pepper's pimienta, right?
Right. Do you say pimientador?
No. I know. Listen, I'm trying to build the word here, okay? I'm going to start with the root. Wait. I know Junior's looking it up because he is always our savior.
Wait.
But how would you say a pepper shaker?
I don't know. Pimienta? Dame la pimienta.
Dame la pimienta, and they just give you pimentos.
Right, but in Spanish, salero is a salt shaker.
Yeah,
Dame
yeah.
salero. So there's just not a word for the pepper?
Well, maybe they just don't use pepper. You know, the way that there's not a word for Lima.
It's not a noun?
Ready?
Oh.
Pimentero.
Pimentero. Have we heard that word?
Not me.
Pimentero.
I don't use a lot of pepper to begin with, much less in Spanish.
Imagine if you used only pepper in English. Yeah, I don't use pepper.
I don't use pepper in Spanish dishes.
Pimientero.
Pimentero.
So like a pimento. Pimentero.
Right. Pimentero. Now I'm thinking of pimento cheese. Pimentero. Un salero y un pimentero. All right. So
a salero is not a salt shaker. They're not the same thing.
No, I just think of a salty bitch.
Exactly. Yes. Yeah. Like a salt shaker is a salt shaker. Like whatever. It's like cute, but it's like un salero. Like, you know, it's like
wait, but even in English, do you say pepper shaker?
I mean, well, actually, you could say, yeah, because a salt and pepper shaker. Actually, you usually refer to it as a collective.
Okay. So if you have a pepper.
Usually just say pass the pepper.
Right. You say, you say
pass the salt, pass the
right,
pepper.
The salt shaker.
Right. Well, the thing is, okay, most people will say, oh, look how cute, the salt and pepper shaker. Because when it comes together as a unit. So technically you put shaker after pepper, but I've never, to your point, I very rarely hear people say, give me the pepper shaker.
Right.
But when it's together, pepper is at the end.
Right. Pepper shaker.
It's a salt and pepper shaker. Right.
They'll say salt shaker. They'll say salt and pepper shaker, but not pepper shaker.
But I very rarely hear pepper shaker. And if you say, look at that cute pepper and salt shaker, you're just weird.
Who says that?
I don't know. Communists.
Wait, going back to your wife, does she say about?
No.
Is she super polite?
Yes.
Well, she's from Perrine.
That's why she doesn't say about, but she says sorry.
Missouri.
Yeah. They really are wonderful people.
They are.
Canadians. I spent a lot of time in Canada when I lived in the Midwest. For some reason, I don't know why. This was not by design. I spent all of my birthdays in Canada when I lived in Michigan. I don't know why. It's like, oh, it's my birthday. Let's go to Windsor. Oh, it's my birthday. Let's go to Toronto.
Well, because, you know, it's your birthday. You wanted to travel abroad.
Right. Abroad. You know, I just literally crossed the border that was like right there. But anyway, international travel on my birthday.
Exactly.
It's funny because actually, this is a great story of my grandmother. I don't think I've ever said. My grandmother, who I love and may she rest in peace. And while I was up in Michigan, she went up for my birthday, and I thought it was a great idea to take them to Niagara Falls.
Did you push her over the falls in a barrel?
No. And so then, you know, my parents had been to Niagara Falls a few times, so they were whatever. My grandmother, I put her on the Maid of the Mist, and I took her even to like the very edge, just a part where you could see it. And she's like, ay, tú sabes que venir a Canadá para ver una agua y un volcán de agua. And I'm like, pero mi ma, esto es las cataratas de Niágara. And she's like, ay, esto es un volcán de agua. And I'm like, but it's Niagara Falls, woman. Like, you were in the Maid of the Mist with your little raincoat, right? We have the picture on the boat. And she's like, I know, sí, es un volcán de agua. That's what she called it. She was so underwhelmed by the Niagara Falls.
I'm just happy that your grandmother did not like slip and fall in the Maid of the Mist, which is where I thought this was going.
No. No, that wasn't on that trip.
Yeah, no, I know. That's why your grandmother very rarely left the house for trips, but they're very eventful.
Right. But she was so underwhelmed by Niagara Falls. And I was like, what waterfalls did you see in Carlos Roja, Cuba? Like,
because I se había criado in Hawaii, you know. Okay.
What waterfalls did you see in Miami? You know?
La Cacao.
Right. And La Cascada de Golfito doesn't count.
No, it just doesn't. It's not valid.
I was like, sorry, Mima, your extensive
waterfall adventures.
Mima. Oh yeah. She was so unimpressed with Niagara Falls. And I was so excited to show her Niagara Falls. I was like, mira, Mima, nos vamos a montar en el barquito y vamos a entrar donde está todo el agua, bueno, el sereno.
Oh, that's probably why she
Maybe that's probably why.
Yeah. Traeme aquí a otro país para mantenerme sereno.
Nos llevan, you know, ahí casi adentro de la cascada. And she was so like, ay, esto es un volcán de agua.
I've never thought of it as a water volcano.
A water volcano.
Never thought of it this way. It's not wrong, I guess.
7 times I went to Niagara Falls. Anyway, I think I'm thirsty.
Well, I mean, you were at the falls.
Yes. And we were talking about salt and sodium.
Salt and, you know, and the pepper shakers and, you know, and we don't want to get canker.
So apparently we have a collective soda.
Yes. I think we're going to keep it short and sweet this week. Our collective soda, you know what? We're going to give it to everyone that voted for us at the South Beach Wine and Food Festival.
Yes. All of our...
Could not have done it without them. Yes. Because there's only 5 of us that were there. So if only we had voted, that would not be enough to win. Yeah. Definitely thank you everybody for coming out, for supporting us. You know, obviously at the South Beach Wine and Food Festival, for, you know, the Yelp Best Bite of the Beach, but in general, like everybody, all of you, we're very lucky that so many of our Pero Primos have translated into, I don't know, Pollo Primos.
Somehow that has a different ring to it.
Yeah, I don't like it. I'm workshopping it. But you know, it's very nice, and again, it's very, to your word you used earlier, humbling to win, knowing that it was the audience's choice. You know, it was the audience vote that got us that title.
The taster's vote.
Yes, exactly. So thank you all for you know, considering us. And also, I know that a lot of people have started following us now because they saw our win. They followed Bim Bam Boyo. We've been posting also for Pero Let Me Tell You. So there's a lot of, you know, synergy now.
There's a lot of intersectionality.
Intersectionality, yes.
Well, because we always like to keep Bim Bam Boyo separate from Pero Let Me Tell You, but now it's like, what the heck?
Why bother? You know what? And the next Hangyando, Belkis Nare is going to be eating our wings. So, you know, it's fine.
Yeah. So, anyway. Well, this was a fun episode.
It was a fun episode.
We talked about absolutely nothing.
And it was wonderful.
So, I hope you enjoyed that ride, listeners and viewers. This was...
we had a lot of citrus, so no scurvy.
I really have a craving now for lemonade. I just don't know which one. Like, which one do I like?
Have them both. Do a taste test.
No, but you know what is so good? Have you had Brazilian lemonade?
What?
Oh my God. Well, first of all, Brazilian lemonade is made with limas.
Okay.
With limes.
Okay.
You get the lime juice and you get the zest and you get ice and you got leche condensada and you blend that shit.
I mean,
it is
you buried the lead,
magic. Bro. Magic. So now I'm starting to think that this is probably a Latin thing because that is lemonade and it's lime.
And it's leche condensada, so you can't get more Latin than that.
Right. So I'm starting to think now because you've never. It's a very big staple. And look, in one of the most popular Brazilian drinks is a caipirinha,
See?
which is lime,
True.
not lemon.
It's lime.
Now I'm trying to think, in Coke and Pepsi commercials for Latin America, do they put a lemon or a lime?
Oh. Well, Corona uses limes.
There we go. We're putting the puzzle pieces together.
All the dots. It's like an episode of Homeland.
Lemons don't exist in Latin America and the Caribbean.
No.
That's an American thing.
Es algo americano.
Es americano.
We don't do a lemon tart. We do key lime.
Yes. What is a lemon meringue pie?
Hay ¿qué hay de merengue con limón? No, y es el limón dulce ese que no sirve para nada.
Oh, my parents hate
Lemon meringue?
no key lime pie.
Wait, why?
They don't like. My mom does. My father's like, no, limón dulce.
But it's
And I'm like, but that's like Key West gift to the world.
Thank you. Yeah. That and all the damn cats at the Hemingway house. Like,
Yeah.
just, yeah.
Yeah.
I love a key lime pie. And the tartar, the better. Like, if I eat a
Have
key
you had
lime
my cousin's key lime pie? Eric's
I
key
have
lime
not.
pie? It is the best.
I have not.
So, for those of you who want the best key lime pie, follow Au Chocolat on Instagram.
Yes.
He is really French.
Yes.
He is not going to give you a tequeño.
No.
I mean, he'll probably make a hell of a tequeño.
If you want, ask
Or
nicely.
pan de bono, but you know, he will make you a croissant.
A croissant.
Croissant, oui. Oui, avec le beurre.
Wait, with
Butter.
butter. Okay. I'm like, wait.
It's French. They put beurre on everything.
Not parquet.
No, it's
No. Oh my God. That's probably like an insult to a French person.
So wait, but where are they store potaje?
French people? No, they're French. They do it in a nice little.
They have lots of like porcelain things.
Okay. I mean, wait, how do you say Tupperware in Spanish? That's a great word. Pozuelo. I mean,
Pozuelo.
come on. Going back to no sabo. How can you not? I mean, your life is less spicy if you don't use the word pozuelo. Ponme eso en un pozuelo.
That's true. Yeah, a pozuelo can have lots of saucy things in it.
Un traste.
Un traste.
Ese es un traste.
Traste.
I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's true.
That is a great word, un pozuelo.
Pozuelo.
In English, it's like, oh.
That's what they had the chicken salad in.
And in English, it's a container.
Yeah.
It's a container.
Wait. So then in Spanish, would it be like La tienda de los pozuelo?
Pozuelo store.
Pozuelo store. No.
Pozuelo tienda.
Pozuelo tienda. Tienda de los pozuelo.
My dream was always to go to Pego Lamps or Fantasy Lighting and go, sí, hola, aquí venden lámparas.
I think you could still do it. I say go for it.
Junior, that would be funny.
Take Junior with. I was going to say take Junior with you.
We could do a Cultura series. Like, you know, Pego Lamps. We go, sí, hola, hola, ¿cómo está, señor? Sí, yo estoy buscando una lámpara. Aquí venden lámpara.
Or un bombillo. Just the one light bulb.
Un bombillo. Do you want to know a really funny story?
About a bombillo?
On the way here.
Getting the lime and the lemon?
I had a lemon in my house, but I didn't have a lime, so I went to Publix to buy a single lime. It was 69 cents, and I was like, "Qué caro for a one lime." I was about to say un limon, and the girl was like, "I don't think anybody's ever bought one lime." And I'm like, "Well, you know."
You're gonna
No, please. I didn't ask for. Maybe the receipt is in my pocket.
Nope. The receipt is in my pocket.
Why?
Because I put it there. I didn't know what it was, but I'm so like.
Okay, look at the receipt.
It's like a Pavlovian
look at the
response.
receipt.
67 cents.
Okay,
sir.
for one lime. I bought one lime.
3 are $2. Yes.
So you see, I was not lying.
Right there. Man, this was such a good printing too. So crisp.
No, she asked me, "Do you want a bag?" I go, "No, don't waste a bag on it."
A bag?
Right. Well, I just walked out of Publix with a lime in my head,
But
in my hand.
But you had the receipt for it.
I did. I
had the receipt.
I mean, really, I'm gonna go to Publix to steal one lime. Tú sabes que a ti te coge el manager de una tienda porque te robaste un limón. No, viste. No.
Officer, you don't understand. There's an entire pirate ship full of scurvy waiting for me.
Un limon. For your arrest record, que diga. I mean, they really wouldn't call it Cultura. Yeah, defendant was stealing a lemon.
One lime.
Yeah. So anyway, well, everybody, enough about that. We hope you listened, laughed, and learned. And as always, remember to grab your pastelito, your croqueta, and your cafecito. Thank you so much for joining us, everyone. This was a wild episode. So let's go have some limeade.
Yes.
So see you all later. Have a great weekend.
Bye.
Bye-bye.